Hello, welcome to another program in the series Bnai Brith Today. I'm Bernie Goldstein, a past president of District 1, Bnai Brith. It's my pleasure to have with me Denise Canner, who is the director of the Nathan I. Nagler Queens Bnai Brith House, which is part of the larger structure of senior citizens housing that's under the aegis of Bnai Brith. Denise, I'd like to talk with you about the funding of the senior citizens housing, the programs, what goes on and what you do. But before we talk, I thought that it might be nice to take a visit to another Bnai Brith house, the one in Boston, Massachusetts. It's not Boston, it's actually Brighton, Massachusetts, but it's near Boston. And take a walk through the house with Harold Band, who does a program similar to this in the Boston area, and James Sandberg, who is the volunteer, who is ahead of Bnai Brith's International Senior Citizens Housing Program. And they're going to take us through the Irving B. Matros Covenant House in Brighton, Massachusetts. And we're going to go for that walk now.
We are looking at the magnificent senior citizen housing complex here in Brighton, Massachusetts, and I'm here with Jim Sandberg. Jim, of course, is the president of senior citizen housing here in Boston. Jim, this building here, how many people live here?
About 250 people.
And when was this building built, Jim?
The original building was built in 1981, 150 apartment units, and then in 1992 another 50 apartment buildings were added on. We now have 200 apartments.
Now this building is a cooperative venture between HUD and Bnai Brith.
Well, it's not really cooperative. It's HUD subsidized, but it's sponsored by Bnai Brith.
Right, and you are the chairman now of the senior citizen housing nationwide
That
here
is correct.
in the country.
That is
This
correct.
is a magnificent building, Jim, and we're very proud of what we see here. Why don't we go across the street and talk to some of the people that live there and take a look at the building itself? We're going to be moving right over into the Bnai Brith Covenant House right here in Brighton, Massachusetts. Here we are in the garden of the Bnai Brith housing facility here in Brighton, Massachusetts, and I'm sitting, of course, with Jim Sandberg, the president of this Bnai Brith housing facility. Jim, this is something to really be proud of. This is a place where people can actually not only abide, but live in. Jim, this garden is beautiful. The people look like they're having a wonderful, wonderful time here. Just tell me, how do you get the people here? I mean, where do the people come from, and how does one get in as a resident? Of course, the people want to come here.
They come from all walks of life. This is a non-sectarian building. People make application. We have 500 people on the waiting list right now for 200 apartments, and we turn over maybe a dozen or so a year, so it's a long wait for somebody to get in. But in order to get in, they have to qualify by being a low-income earner. And there are certain parameters that they have to follow, which are HUD guidelines. We also follow the discrimination laws and, of course, non-sectarian laws, and we stay within the percentages that HUD dictates to us. But the people living in here live here as one happy family. They feel they're just, their lives have been prolonged by many years. I can tell you countless stories about the people living in here and how they feel with one another and their extended family, and strong feelings of quality life. And I've seen people kissing the doorposts when they get an apartment, saying, finally, at last, I got a place to live. I don't have to share a bathroom with somebody. I have my own bed to sleep in. I've had situations where in other buildings, as national chair for all of the senior housing housing for Bnai Brith. I get around the country quite a bit, and there was a gentleman that I came across in Fort Worth, Texas, only a couple of months ago, who moved into one of our buildings, and he had been a recluse for about a half a dozen years, an invalid, and living in an apartment, not very... Sam? Go ahead. Nice to see you, Sam. Nice to see you. How old are you, Sam? How young are you, Sam?
Sam is one of the residents.
My son is 68.
And you are? Oh, you told me.
Hitting 90.
You're on television. I want you to realize that.
93.
Tell him. Let's hear a little about this.
Tell me, Sam, tell me what's Bnai Brith housing like here? Do you really like it?
Well, I don't know, but I've been doing a hell of a lot of work here. I'm not getting paid for it.
And you really like living here?
Well, because I make it so.
Right.
I make it so.
Right. They all make it so. This is wonderful. These are people here that are really living besides just abiding here. Jim, I see there are other people sitting here. Maybe we can get over and talk to some of these people.
Let's get over and say hello to
Say some of these other people here.
All righty.
Okay? We will be going over to talk to a couple of other people living here.
In a moment,
Right.
Sam.
Especially the one in gray hair. She's a very brilliant.
Let's say hello to these people sitting here. These are more of our residents.
We're over here talking with more of the residents, and we're on television here talking to people who are residents of the Bnai Brith Senior Citizen Housing here. Tell me about it. How long have you been here?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
And where did you live before?
Texas.
In Texas?
Edith Wilson, coincidentally, lived in the Fort Worth apartments in Texas that I was telling you about just a few minutes ago, where we have this gentleman who has been recluse for many years. He just got an apartment in the Fort Worth building, and he's living a whole new life, a new quality of life. He's now involved with the residents, and he's just living. His life has come together again from many years of not being together. Your name is?
Celia Silverstein.
Celia?
Yeah.
Yeah, Celia. How long have you been here now?
13 years, as long as the building was built.
13, right from the start.
Right from the start.
I think you see you enjoy living here.
Oh, yes, it's very nice.
Tell me, are there activities here?
Yeah, there are, but I think there should be a little more.
There should be a little bit
Yes,
more.
I think so.
And we're taking care of that.
Yeah.
Now here where you have Mel.
Mel Cohen.
Mel Cohen. Mel Cohen I've seen for years. Tell me, Mel, how long have you been here?
11 years and 10 months.
11 years. And are you on a committee here, or do you
I'm
do
the
some?
president of the council, president of Bnai
Residents
Brith.
Council.
President Council.
Could you tell me what the Residents Council does? I mean, are there residents, people here that do some of the committee work?
Every year they run for election. Some of them sit on their duff, but they don't sit for long. After I educate them, they get along and work.
What type of things do you have these people involved in? What are they doing for themselves?
Well, tomorrow we have, through the mayor's office, we have a trip to downtown Boston to the summer fair. There are going to be barbecues. Minnie Pearl is there from the old-time television, and there are going to be 3.5 hours of entertaining, dancing, and it's all free.
Okay, we will be going inside in a moment just to take a look at some of the facilities here at the beautiful Covenant House in Brighton. And we've just been speaking with some of the people here, and we'll be seeing some of the activities going on. We'll be moving inside into the building now. We are now in the interior of the Covenant House here in Brighton, Massachusetts. A beautiful atrium interior. And I'm with Jim Sandberg, of course, the president, and with Arlene
Weintraub.
Weintraub. You're the socials director here.
No,
and
I'm the social worker.
social worker.
I'm one of 2 social workers.
And Laurie?
Laurie Trilling. I'm the
You're-
property manager here.
Property manager. Well, you're in charge of all this beautiful work up here. Tell me what the balconies are up here. What's going on behind those balconies?
Well, the balconies are basically on every floor. You get off the elevator, and then you go in one direction, you go into Covenant 1, which is one of our buildings, and the other direction is Covenant 2, which is the other building.
So these are the living quarters up here
Yes,
over
all
there.
of them are apartments.
And I see they're beautifully, you've got nice gardens up there and ivy hanging down from the. Tell me about the social work here. What do you do with the people here?
Well, a little bit of everything. We're available for to be liaison with other agencies, with health agencies, to organize with other agencies to come in and do presentations, to be available for people if they need assistance with various kinds of applications, to organize programs, bring in health fairs, and liaisons with hospitals and other kinds of agencies.
Oh, so I said, just as I said before, these people here not only just abiding here, but they're living here and living well.
Right.
And you assist them with all the problems that they might have with their aid and
all
so
the
forth.
problems and some of the pleasures.
Right. Some of the pleasures, what kind of programming do you have?
Well, we run some groups. We bring in entertainment from other of various kinds, from temples and other organizations. We organize with management the TAP program, which brings in different kinds of programming. For example, Cooking Healthily, which is a series of programs that people participate in and do their own cooking right here. Exercise, we're going to be having a wonderful exercise program.
Well, that's all great. So these people are doing wonderful things. Why don't we just go into maybe the library for a moment and take a look at some of the facilities here. We've been talking with the management people here. We've been talking with the social working people here, and of course with Jim Sandberg. Let's spend a couple of minutes and look around the facility here, again at Covenant House in Brighton, Massachusetts. Thank you. Okay. Okay, here we are back in Covenant House. We are now in the beautiful library at Covenant House here in Brighton, Massachusetts. And I'm looking at some of the lovely residents here at Covenant House. I'm just going to ask them to sort of introduce themselves and tell me about how long, say, they have been here. Can you tell me your name?
Jeanette Friedman.
And how long have you been here, Jeanette?
We came in here, well, the building wasn't finished yet.
Really? So you've been here right from the beginning?
That's right, from the very beginning.
And how do you like it here?
Very much.
Do you,
Very much so.
You
We have a home here.
You've got a home here.
That's right.
That's it. So it's just not just a place to live again.
No,
it's a
nice,
real
nice
home.
place, a real home.
And you have friends here?
Very good friends.
Wonderful.
Everyone.
And you've really liked to
Very
stay
good
here.
management, too.
Right. Management is great.
Very
All Bnai Brith housing has good management, of course. Let's go over and meet this lady over here. How are you? And what's your name?
Georgina Ramos.
Oh, that's a wonderful name, but it has a funny accent. What is your accent?
It's Spanish.
Spanish?
Yeah.
And where did you come from before you came here?
Cuba.
You came from Cuba?
Yeah.
And how long have you been living here?
In the building?
In the building?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Right. And you came from Cuba how long ago?
Oh, long time ago, in 1962.
62. That was
Yeah.
right after Mr. Castro came.
Yes.
Right. And you've been in this building now for?
For 8 years.
And
I feel so happy to live here.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Like everybody else. Everybody's happy.
I like it to everybody. Everybody's so nice.
And you have a lot of nice friends here.
Oh, yeah. Very nice friend. And she's my neighbor.
Oh, you got your neighbor. Let's talk to your neighbor. Yes, who are you, please?
I'm Martha Saul, and I'm in charge of the library.
Oh, so you're the librarian
Yes,
here.
right.
Right, how many people come in here?
Always full.
Always full.
Always full, because I'm here.
Anna girl, very, very good. And you're her friend.
I got friends to prove it.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk to this lady over here in the corner. How do you do?
Thank you.
And your name?
Eugenia Daskal.
And you're from, originally?
I'm from Russia.
Russia. And
Yes.
how long have you been here at Covenant House?
In Covenant House, I am from, now third year.
Third year.
Third year.
Right.
Yes.
Have you been learning to speak English here?
A little bit, yeah.
Right. And do you have family here in the United States?
Yes. I have here family of my daughter and family of my son.
Tell me, what's Covenant House mean to you?
Oh, it's wonderful here, and I think not only me, all people here appreciate very much. We met here open hearts, friendly people, and they help us much, very, very much.
So
and
it's a lot
appreciate
more
it.
than just an apartment to live into.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Right. Do you do
Yeah.
any of the things here in the library, or do you come here?
Yes, I take here books. I try to read in English now, and I live here.
You enjoy it?
Happy. Yeah,
Right.
I am happy.
Yes. Okay, we have been talking to some of the residents here at Covenant House, and we have Jim Sandberg, the president, and Laurie, the building manager, and Arlene, the social worker here. And we've been doing very, very well. I think that all of us enjoy being here at Covenant House. I think the residents are living a great life here. This is living with people. This is the purpose of Covenant House, and we're very happy to have been here. We will come back, of course. This has been our view of senior citizen housing here in Boston, and I am your host, Harold Band, for Inside Bnai Brith, and we'll be back. Thank you very, very much.
Well, I'm going to fool him a little bit. Harold Band said he would be back, but we're back to Bernie Goldstein and Denise Canner. They were in Boston, we're back in New York, and let's talk about your house was the Nathan I. Nagler, Bnai Brith, Queens house.
That's great.
Boy, you got to say that fast. But I love the interview with the nice little lady who said, we got activities, but not enough. And I guess it happens at all the
This is
houses.
absolutely typical. I loved the interview, because what you're really seeing, and this goes for all the buildings in our family, is that tenants create for themselves a sense of community, a sense of belonging. It's an opportunity for them to make friendships. Our building was built and funded under the Section 8 202 program, and the Section 8 program is a
Section 8 202 of the
Department of Housing and Urban Development, right? The program, Section 8, is a funding mechanism whereby the government provides a rent subsidy for low-income elderly people. The Section 202 program is a federal program that assists nonprofit organizations to develop housing. The people that you are seeing all live in the building, paying just 30% of their income toward rent. To qualify for residency, a person must be 62 years of age or older. Younger people may qualify as well if they're between the ages of 18 and 62 and are mobility impaired and can benefit from a barrier-free living design. In addition to that, there's an income, a maximum income limit. People cannot be receiving an income more than more than $17,150 if it's a single person, and $19,600 for a couple.
Denise, all these things are very important, but let me ask a question that'll cut through to it. If somebody is interested, is there a way that they could get information about this? Can they contact somebody or get the number?
Sure, they write to me, Denise Canner, Nathan I. Nagler, Queens Bnai Brith House.
Nagler.
Try to get that on a piece of stationery. And it's at 138-49 Elder Avenue, Flushing, New York, 11355.
Let's go again. The address is
138-49 Elder Avenue, Flushing, New York, 11355. The unfortunate part is that our waiting list has 790 people on it.
But other people may want to know about it. That's the thing. I just don't want anybody to feel that you're going, that it's too fast for me to grasp. And if they need to know additional information, they can contact you.
Absolutely.
Now, before you and I were talking, and it's become a problem with the funding, because in the budget restructuring, the tight times, and the difficulties with money, is there a possibility that the 202, or the money that goes to assist the organizations with this housing and the Section 8 money, could be cut?
We are right now watching the service coordinator, which we'll talk about, I hope, in just a few moments. Service coordinators, the salary for a service coordinator will be eliminated from the HUD budget right now with the proposal that's in. And I think what we have to remember is it's just a proposal. We can still be very effective in having this proposal stopped. We have been assured...
Who is the service coordinator?
Service coordinator is a person that we have just been approved to hire just about 3.5 years ago using Section 8 money.
To do what?
Service coordinator is the person who provides the social service to the tenants. She will be the person who provides the informational referral, counseling, entitlement programs. She is the person that is key, or he is the person that is key in making sure that the person who is becoming increasingly frail can have the necessary support services so that they can continue to live an independent lifestyle.
All right, let me go back when you and I were watching Harold Band and James Sandberg, and when the woman said there could be more programming, you said, not in my place. I mean, but is this the service coordinator, the person who sees that the programs? That's a totally different thing.
Right. We have approximately 231 tenants living in our building.
Right.
And 65 of those tenants are volunteers. They help us to provide programs, as our board of directors does as well. We have, out of these 65 tenants, we have a coffee shop that's open Monday through Friday, from 8 to 11 o'clock. During the times when the street was having a hard time
8
running,
a.m.?
8 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the morning.
In the morning, all right, go on.
When the coffee shop on the corner was having a hard time making a buck, we were making a profit. They serve a continental breakfast.
You weren't making a profit. You had a slight excess over your costs.
I forgot I'm talking to an IRS man.
Go on, go on.
Dance classes every other Tuesday night. We have a movie program actually it's every other week.
Right.
We have people who knit for homeless children. We have a library that's open 24 hours a day for insomniacs. We have a multi-purpose community room where tenant council meetings go on monthly, and we have either a lecture, a person come in presenting an educative program, or musical presentations. Refreshments are always served. We have an entertainment committee that provides some sort of program for every single holiday throughout the year, and then some. There is always something.
When you say holiday, may I ask a question
Sure.
there? Are they just a Jewish holiday?
No, we're a non-sectarian building, as you heard Jim Sandberg speak about. We are funded by the Department of Housing and Urban
So it's any
Development.
holiday that they...
Every single holiday. To give you an example, there was Hamantash and green cupcakes at the same time.
So the
Same
St.
tenant
Patty's-
council meeting.
St. Patty's,
Yes,
all right.
yes,
Okay,
everything
good.
is covered. Aside from the volunteers from our tenant council, we have an extremely active board of directors. We cannot use any of the money given to us by HUD for tenant activities.
Right.
And so annually, there's a fundraising program.
Oh, you brought me back to something. I interrupted you.
Sure.
I asked you the question. You started to tell me. You said that you have heard that there are proposals to cut the funding that would affect you.
Yeah.
If the people that are watching want assistance to go on to senior citizens housing, like Covenant House in Boston, like the Nathan I. Nagler Queens Bnai Brith House in Queens, like the program that Jim Sandberg was talking about, the Bnai Brith has them all over the country, and there are other programs that benefit from this. Is there anything that people can and should do to let their Congress representative know and their senators know?
Yes. You can write, you can call your legislator. It's terribly important.
Federal. Congress?
Federal as well as state.
State.
I'd like to see both.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
The reason for this is because you probably, in all likelihood, have more contact with your state governments at this point, and not only for the 202 housing to be alive and well and available for our future senior citizens, but to be able to save the service coordinator position, to let your congresspeople know, let your politicians know that it is the service coordinator's position that will allow us to keep our frail elderly living in senior housing and not have them placed in an institution prematurely. This is most important.
You used some numbers before, and I
Yeah.
wanted to get back to your specific. I know each house has slightly different factors about the governance of whether they have a professional or they have volunteers who manage the house, if you will, and all of them have a director of some sort, like your professional position. The question that I had for you is, in the Nathan I. Nagler house, what percentage of the 231 tenants actually participate in the programming that you run? Is it a high percentage or small percentage? What happens?
I would say if we took all the programs and put them together, we probably have about 75% of the people participating. And I'm really grabbing at a figure here, Bernie. It's
I'm just trying
hard.
to get a feel.
Yeah. Keep in mind that the person that that is living in our building that was always a loner, you're not going to turn around now and have them become someone who socializes. But what we do have is for the person who was living in a community before they came to us and was fearful about going out during the day or did not have friends alive anymore, they now are living in a place where they have socializations all around them. They're able to socialize.
The library is open all the time,
yes,
as you said, for insomniacs. But, all right, did they have their own organization?
No, there is a tenant council.
Right.
Jim's person explained that to us earlier, and every building has a tenants association. Okay. We have a tenants association that represents the interest of all the tenants. And they're also a liaison between myself and the tenants. They're a very active group of people.
Denise, we have just a couple minutes left, and I wanted to thank you. First of all, I'll thank you again, but I want to thank you for taking the time out of a very, very busy schedule to come in and share it with us.
It's my pleasure.
And I don't want to repeat what Harold Bann has already said, that this is an alternative, but I think you struck the chord that this is a way that people can maintain a certain level of dignity, and they do have an input into what's going on.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that you would like to see, or you would like to tell the audience, a ended question that you can knock it away? Do you feel that the people would change it if they could, that are there?
Well, let's say that if the people wanted to change it, then they have the power to do so. The key to senior citizen housing operating the way it should operate is to keep in mind that that building is theirs. I am there, the board of directors is there.
The board of directors is volunteers in yours.
The board of directors is a group of people that are volunteers. They set the policy for the building, I carry it out. But I like to think of the board of directors and staff and the tenants as a cyclical process of making this machine continue to run with a heartbeat. And it does. There is virtually no program that I'll bring into the building without first calling a meeting with the tenant council for their approval. It is their building. It's not mine. We're there to make sure that it runs as it should run.
All right. I'm going to wrap up now by saying you should call your congressmen and your senators to keep this kind of housing going. Bnai Brith is doing something that helps the whole community, and I thought you'd like to see what it was. Thank you for joining us again on the program, Bnai Brith Today. Denise, again, thank you very much for coming in and sharing the views that you have and reminding us that it's our responsibility, too, to remind the politicians that they have a way of paying back the community by doing something for it. Thank you for joining us on another program called Bnai Brith Today.